All right, so we've got a COVID update, astral sex, and alien DNA.
What? What? What is going on in our world that we have to even think about or nonetheless type or talk about these types of words? I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, this is terrible. But
Yes. So here's the
basically,
deal, right? We had some doctors, a group of people found some doctors. They put them in lab coats. They had them get out in front of the media and social media and all that stuff and say a bunch of weird stuff.
it was very weird. Yeah. So they went out there. This is in the past 24 hours or so. And they went out and I think they were in front of the US Supreme Court and they were talking about all kinds of weird things about how
The
COVID
building,
is,
not
yeah,
the actual Supreme
right,
Court.
right, right. Exactly. They're in front of the building and they were talking about how the virus has a cure and how we don't need masks and all kinds of other nonsense. And one of those people actually has an interesting other area of expertise, right? This person has expertise in knowing about things like astral sex, which I guess is like other beings and stars. I don't know. It's this weird
I'm
thing.
not going down that rabbit
I don't
hole.
know. I don't know. But and she also says that medications are from alien DNA and just bizarre things. And we found it to be very troubling
But you
that
would
this
never
type
know
of
that.
stuff is out
You would
there.
never know that based because here they are. They're with some concerned Americans. They're in their lab coats. They're talking, and it seems fine. But then you go under the hood, right?
Right.
And you find out that there's some real yahoos in their midst, like
Apparently.
nuts.
Yeah.
So
And what we want to say is, folks, this just isn't science. That's not what this is. Just because you got some people who are grouped together in white lab coats doesn't make this representative of the scientific community. This is political nonsense. It's theater. It's not science.
now we don't think any of our listeners out there would actually be fooled by this kind
No,
of stuff.
we
I
have
mean,
very,
there's
very, very smart
the
listeners.
trigger word of astral sex just tells you. But what I do find a lot of times is people are like, I don't believe that, but I really don't know what to tell maybe friends or family members or people on my social media feed. I don't really understand how I might provide a better part of the conversation to refute some of this kind of misinformation that is dressed up like authority.
Right. So, some things that are important to remember. One, science is a process. It involves a lot of different people, the collection of data, and analysis to then help drive some conclusions and interpretations about what we should do. Right. In this case, perhaps related to COVID. Medical knowledge happens through collective work by researchers working with practitioners over time. And you know what? Most research and most researchers don't go out there and try to disseminate their findings in some sort of staged event that's publicized on social media. That's just not how it happens.
Right. And what sometimes you will see this though. There's a paper in the final review process to be published in Nature next fall. And they may get a little media buzz on that.
Yeah,
But the
sure.
key thing is the media will say that is going to be published in a peer-reviewed journal.
Yeah.
Right? If it's like, I just did a study, me and my buddy Filson over here over a 6-pack of beer, that doesn't count.
Right. So, there's just a lot of claims out there that people are making that are not evidence based. There are some evidence based things related to COVID that we should be doing and things that we should be heeding. For example, mask wearing is an evidence based practice.
Right.
Do it.
And so the evidence on mask wearing was actually pretty good. Like it wouldn't
Mhm.
have gotten through engineering approval. And we work with researchers on this kind of stuff all the time, but it wouldn't have gotten through approval if it couldn't be a 9N95, right? Like, but that being said, because there was such concern in the community, they actually did newer studies on masks that have
Right.
recently been published. So masks are it's like the world is round. Masks are good.
Right. So is distancing. You're not going to get sick if you're not around people all the time, right? You're not going to spread it. You might be asymptomatic, right? So distancing is good. Masks are good. Other stuff still being studied. And we should look for evidence of their effectiveness from those large legitimate organizations. And these are organizations like the National Institutes of Health, like the Centers for Disease, just some sort of small group that has a political advocacy type of goal.
Right. So that being said, one of the biggest things you can do is just be careful about what you share on social media. This stuff, the minute you have an emotional response to something on social media, pause. Do a tactical pause. Like you might have seen something that is worthy of outrage, but do a pause. Wonder, validate with some of your friends. Maybe validate with some of your friends that have differing views from you. It might help you make better decisions. But our thing that we want to do is stop the baloney from spreading, right?
Right, right. And when in doubt on this whole COVID matter, just listen to Dr. Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He's been directing that institute since 1984. He's advised 6 presidents. He has a lifetime career of validated ethical behavior. Listen to what he's
Right.
saying.
And most of you guys, myself included, only heard about Dr. Fauci recently. And so this is a guy that is probably known in certain circles, but has achieved some notoriety based on this, global pandemic. Which means he's not out there for all the cool guy points, guys. He's been doing this job, in the trenches for forever.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And if
there's
you,
some
but
tips. Yeah.
right. But if you know anybody who has expertise on astral sex or alien DNA, let us know,
Yes.
because we would really like to interview them and
Yes.
understand where they're coming from. Yeah.
So
Okay.
positive note though. This Tuesday, we've got Dr. Steven Rogelberg, who is
August 4th.
incredible. August
Yes.
4th. So if you are not subscribed to the Indigo podcast, where should they go, Ben?
They should go to indigotogether.com and you'll see all the information there, right? indigotogether.com/indigo podcast. You can also find us on all of the major podcasting platforms. Just type in the Indigo podcast and you'll find us. Click subscribe so you'll get our episodes the instant that we release them. And really looking forward to Tuesday, August 4th with Steven Rogelberg.
Let's say what he does. He's the global expert on meetings.
That's right.
I mean,
right.
there's not he's like the amateur hour expert on meetings. He's the global expert on meetings research.
So let me present an analogy, right? So we have Dr. Fauci, infectious diseases, Dr. Rogelberg, workplace meetings. I mean,
they both probably throw a baseball equally badly. I don't know. Steven may be mad about that. But here's the thing. If you want to know the kind of work we do with organizations as a consulting firm, Indigo Anchor, all of our science for that comes through Steven's research and his practical book, The Surprising Science of Meetings. We suggest that you go purchase that now. If you're in bad meetings, buy that for your friends. But anyway, Steven Rogelberg, August 4th. Also, we have a whole slate of amazing guests. If you have not seen our Kate Ball or Enrica Ruggs episode or listen to them on their podcast, you're missing out. Come get what thousands of other people are loving already, right?
Yeah.
So August 4th, Steven Rogelberg. You can find all this great information if you subscribe. We're on all the major podcast platforms.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't spread the madness of astral sex and alien DNA.
Just don't.